Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Price. I am an RSSA, which stands for Registered Social Security Analyst. So I'm going to be able to assist you with understanding Social Security and how it affects you. You will then be able to make an informed decision and know when to claim your Social Security benefits. My goal for this webinar or workshop, if you will, is to provide you with information on the importance of Social Security basics, and the filing factors. On this page, you'll find a link for the Social Security guide and a link for the next step. Please be aware that there will be a fee charged for this service, and it will be outlined on this page where you're watching. All right. For today's workshop, we will be going over or discussing 3 important topics that are related to understanding and optimizing your Social Security benefits. The first topic will be about the importance of Social Security, and we're going to look at the important factors that you need to consider. We are also going to look at the problems you could face, and then formulating or creating a strategy that best fits your unique situation. With Social Security planning, it can't be done in a vacuum because everyone's situation is different, and you shouldn't take advice from a neighbor who has collected at 62. And 96% of all people are doing that, and they're not optimizing their benefits. So yes, 96% of everyone is leaving money on the table. Statistically, it's over $111,000 per household on average that is being left on the table. So that's why it is very important to look at what may be affecting you. So why is this? Well, it comes down to being uneducated. So everyone should know that their benefits that they will be eligible for, when to collect those benefits, Social Security pitfalls and rules that can impact them, but they don't. Most just collect without doing the homework on the subject, which is why today I'm providing you with the education and information that will help you make the right decision for you. At the end of the day, it is still your choice, and the more information you have, the more capable you'll be of making an informed decision. The second topic that we'll discuss is Social Security basics. So this includes important terms, types of benefits that are available, how your benefits are calculated. And this is important specifically because many people have a misconception on how Social Security benefits are calculated. So we're going to discuss not only your current benefits, but how they can increase and how future work may impact your future benefits. Lastly, we're going to discuss filing factors. So these factors do include your marital status, whether you're single, married, divorced, or widowed, right? Or maybe more than one of those may apply to you. So we'll discuss that as well. And we're going to talk about the dependent benefits, including who is eligible, who they are eligible based off of, and how much they can get. Then we'll wrap things up with your employment status. Are you still working? When do you plan to stop working? Are you retired? No matter what your work situation is, it does have a big impact on your claiming decisions. All right. So we're going to move into the first topic, which is importance of Social Security. So there are 4 facts that are important to know, and I want to point those out. However, I'm sure that there are a lot more than 4 that could have an impact on you, but we're going to look at 4 just for today, as I think these would be helpful in understanding how they work and how they may affect you. So the first thing is that Social Security is more than a retirement program. Social Security provides benefits for spouses, survivors, dependents, disabled people, and more. So you can think of Social Security and the benefits that are provided as more of a living life insurance benefit. This is because it protects against a deceased spouse. It gives benefits to young or disabled children. And if you become disabled, all of those are covered for you, and potentially your family members may be covered as well. So second, Social Security is a form of guaranteed income. That is because it also provides a cost of living adjustment. So you may have a 401k, a 403b, a Roth, etc., but there are very few forms of guaranteed retirement income which Social Security provides. That is why I always give people a bit of information here about that. A question that's always asked is, should I take my Social Security benefit early and invest it? Now, that'll depend on how much of a risk taker you could be, but where else would you have a guaranteed 8% per year increase plus a compounding cost of living adjustment? So last year we had a cost of living increase of 8.7%. So if you left that money in Social Security, that would have been an increase of 16.7%. Between the 8% for waiting and 8.7% cost of living, that again will compound. So this year we saw a 3.2% increase. So the total increase between the 3.2% cost of living and the 8% for waiting was 11.2% increase. So if you can guarantee that you can get more in another investment, then yes, take it out. Third, which is related to what I just spoke about, is that Social Security is meant to be a foundation for retirement planning. So just about everyone is going to be collecting Social Security in some form or another, but not everyone will have a pension, a 401k, an annuity. So it's important to build a retirement plan around Social Security. All right, and then lastly, Social Security income is a major or only income source in retirement for most individuals. So Social Security, when it was created by President Roosevelt, was never meant to be the only retirement income for someone, but for many people that is the case. And so the question is, why don't people think about it more? And the truth is that it doesn't really occur to most people what the purpose of Social Security was at the time it was created. All right, so let's talk about the problems that you may have when doing your Social Security research and planning. And many of you have probably done some digging and looked up the answers, right? But the problem is that there are so many Social Security rules, but knowing which rule will apply is the real concern. So asking the right questions and knowing what questions you should ask is a real concern. Again, with 96% of everyone collecting, they're leaving money on the table. And on average, that's over $111,000. And that's again because they're not educated when it comes to Social Security. But you have, again, the problem with all the information that's available. What do you rely on? So now, being uneducated isn't necessarily anyone's fault. Again, especially for those who are here today, you want to learn more so you can make the right decision. People that are not doing, even a blink of the eye at 62 and collecting, a class like this probably won't help them because they've already made up their minds. However, for those of you who are looking for more information, for a credible resource for help with those questions, advice and understanding as well, a workshop like this will help you. Now, where shouldn't you go for help? the number one place is actually the Social Security Administration, and here's why. So first, the reps at SSA are not allowed by law to give you personal advice or guidance. Second, the reps are, not going to know everything about you or your situation. Third, they are simply there to read answers off of a prompt, which can formulate the wrong and misleading information based off of your particular situation. And that's because without any context, many of the questions are hard to answer. And if the rep doesn't know what questions to ask you back, then they give you a general answer, which can be wrong. So that's why it's important to speak to someone who is a professional when it comes to looking at your situation and determining what you should do and giving you that information. Fifth, Social Security Administration says right on their website that they pay $8.3 billion a year in improper payments. So that means there are people either getting paid too much or too little. So who would trust them with information about their specific situation? And then the worst part is if they get it wrong, then you're blamed anyway. So guess what? There's nothing you can do about that when it comes to the Social Security Administration. So again, that's why it's important to speak to a professional who does this for a living and can look at your particular situation. All right, next, so we're going to look at how you can optimize. So again, you'll see up here, fixed expenses, variable expenses, and retirement assets. So how do you optimize your benefit? So once you understand that some Social Security basics and complexities will impact you, which we'll be looking at in just a few minutes, you realize, there could be other factors that are going to play into your particular decision making. So this can include understanding what your other retirement income is, your expenses, and your debts, right? So you want to put yourself in a position where your income outweighs your expenses. So these can include fixed and variable expenses. So fixed expenses would include things like your mortgage, credit cards, loans, other debts, insurance, food, utilities, anything else you're paying each month of retirement. So this can also include medical expenses, especially if and when you enroll in Medicare and pay your Part B premium or supplement or Advantage plan. Your variable expenses are expenses that you may or may not have, and depending on how you want to live in retirement, these can vary from person to person. So do you want to travel? Do you want to shop? Do you want to go on vacations? Do you have hobbies, right? So those are things to consider. And this is all about lifestyle in retirement. And for some people, they don't want to give up their lifestyle that they have now when they're still working, so they want to have a similar income. This brings us to the last piece of this puzzle, which are your retirement assets. So what guaranteed income do you have? Social Security, do you have annuities? Do you have pensions to consider? What other assets do you have? And again, this can include your 401k, IRA, Roth. So do you have a primary residence? Do you have a secondary residence? Do you have equity? Would a reverse mortgage help you? So again, all these things are considerations that are related in making the best and most important of your your claim decisions when it comes to your Social Security. So again, there's a lot that you can consider, and it's not in a vacuum. So that's why it's important to speak with a professional. All right. So now we're going to look at your Social Security basics. Alrighty. So the basics do include certain terms. So that's full retirement age, primary insurance amount, delayed retirement credits, and then cost of living. So today we're going to focus on those four that I've highlighted already because I feel like those are the most important to know right now. And we are going to walk through those terms together, and I'll point out what they are, what they mean, and why they are important to you. So, it's definitely important to understand those terms. All right. So, some of these you may have heard of, some of them you may not have. Again, don't worry, we're going to walk through each one. That way you'll have a better understanding of each of the terms and how they may affect you. All right, so first up is full retirement age, or FRA. So this is the age at which you'll receive your full unreduced benefit. So in other words, it's 100% of your benefit based on the year you were born. So you may know what your full retirement age is already, but some people may not. So we do have a chart here. So again, 43 to 54, yours is 66. You'll notice the years starting with 1955 up to 59 is 66 plus 2 months for each year. So we range from 66 and 2 months down to 66 and 10 months. And then once we hit 1960, moving forward is 67. This doesn't rule out any potential changes to that chart moving forward. So this will be people, born later than 60 that we may see a change with the full retirement age. But at least for right now, we haven't seen any changes, but that's always a possibility. All right. Now let's talk about why age is important. So some things that you should know. So first, you will receive your primary insurance amount, or your PIA, at full retirement age. Again, this is another important term. So what is PIA? It is your monthly benefit amount that you'll receive if you collect your benefit at full retirement age. So this amount is what your benefit, your monthly income will be based off of. Social Security payments will be based off of. It can be reduced if you claim early, or increase if you wait. So we'll look at that over the next few slides. All right, so there's 3 other components that make up full retirement age that are important. So you have the earnings test, also known as the earnings limit. That's a 6-month retroactive payment, and the ability to voluntarily suspend your benefit. The earnings test or limit, which we'll discuss more in just a bit, limits how much you can earn while collecting Social Security before your full retirement age. So once you reach full retirement, earnings limits no longer apply to you, and the 6-month retroactive payment option is an option that can be used after you reach your full retirement. So again, it's basically like backdating your benefit by 6 months once you hit your full retirement age. So once you reach full retirement and go past it, you can opt to go back up to 6 months if you want it, and then you can receive those benefits as if you were getting them earlier based off of your full retirement age. That would be a lump sum payment, and then monthly payments moving forward based on what you would have gotten starting during the first retro month. For example, let's say you have a full retirement of 66 and 6 months. Now you've reached age 67, so you can opt to say, let me get the lump sum payment going back to 66 and 6 months, but the benefit moving forward that you'll get at the 66 and 6 months, not at your full retirement of 67, not your current age of 67. So the last rule around full retirement age is voluntary suspension. So once you've reached full retirement or later, you can stop your benefit voluntarily if you've already started collecting. So by stopping, this allows your benefit to begin increasing again at the 8% per year. However, you will not be getting payments during that time, And you can stop benefits or restart them anytime between your full retirement age and age 70. So let's say you started collecting and say, you know what, I want it to increase. So you decide you're going to suspend your benefits and let it increase again. But the maximum age, again, not to claim up to would be 70. So the full percentage that you can get for most people now, and this is mostly for people with age 67 as full retirement, the max you can get is 124% of your benefit, your full retirement age benefit. Okay. So next we'll look at the cost of living adjustment. And we've talked a bit about it so far, but we'll discuss it in more detail and look at the impact. So cost of living adjustment, also known as COLA, is typically going to be announced each October and begins to integrate into your Social Security benefits in December. And those December benefits are what's paid in January to those who are eligible. So, this is announced each year. Can't be negative, but also could be zero, meaning there's no increase from the prior year. So, COLA does apply to a retirement benefit for anyone who is 62 years old or older, whether you're collecting benefits or not. So, there's no rush to collect before January to receive a COLA if you are 62. And, just know that you'll get that increase either way. So COLA also increases all benefits that are being collected. That includes spousal, survivor, disability, and dependent benefits. So if you take a look at the chart, you'll see COLA over the last 5 years. So here's your chart right here. The last 3 years, so you see 22, 23, and 24, have had the highest COLA adjustments that we've seen over the last decade. Again, this is important because COLAs do compound and can increase your benefit, as your retirement years go on. Okay. So, what other benefit types? So you see retirement benefits, spousal, survivor, dependent benefits, as we've been mentioning before. So let's talk about these benefits. So those are the 5 main ones. We're not going to discuss disability benefits for today, but if anyone may be entitled or have questions about disability benefits, we can definitely look at that in a one-on-one meeting. So, what is the reason for this is because disability benefits are generally very difficult to qualify for. There's an application for that, and it's typically denied 99% the first time that someone applies. So, that's why it's typically recommended to work with a disability lawyer or attorney, unless you're terminally ill, in which case then you can qualify without having to use a lawyer or attorney to help you with your disability claim. Again, if you have any additional questions about disability or concerns, definitely let me know in a one-on-one meeting. All right, so the first benefit we'll look at is your retirement benefit. So retirement benefits based on your own work record after receiving 40 credits, generally 10 years worth of work to qualify. A spousal benefit is a benefit that's based off of a spouse or ex-spouse's earning record. So as a spouse receives their benefit, you may not have enough credits to qualify on your own. But as long as your spouse has the number of years, again, 10 years, 40 credits, then you could very well collect off of their record. And then this is the case with ex-spouses as well as current spouses. So we'll discuss the difference between the eligibility for current spouses versus ex-spouses, as well as the benefit amounts that you may be eligible for and when. So a survivor benefit which is based on work record of the deceased, can include benefits for surviving spouses, ex-spouses, and dependents. Once they've met certain criteria. So we'll discuss the difference between the benefit eligibility for current spouses versus ex-spouses, as well as dependents, and what benefit amounts survivors could get as well. The last benefit we'll discuss is dependent benefit. So again, this can include biological children, adopted children, stepchildren, and dependent grandchildren. These children typically have to fall within an age criteria as well, which we'll discuss today, and we'll also discuss the benefit amounts and what is called a family maximum, which limits how much of a benefit can be paid out based off of one person's earning record. Alright, so next we'll look at calculating benefits from earnings. Okay, so anyone that may have been wondering about how in the world is calculated. This is one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding Social Security. Some of you may know how it's calculated, some may not. Things I've heard from people is based off of the last 3 years of work, based off of the top 3 years, based off of 10 years, and more. So the real way that the benefits calculated is actually, it's based on the highest 35 years. So the 35 years can include indexed amounts as well as face value. So all of your earnings that you made throughout your working career from the first year you worked through age 59 are what they call indexed or multiplied for inflation. So the earnings you have if you work after age 60 are then taken at face value. So that means that the amount you've made or will make at age 60 or older is counted essentially as is. So there's no multiplication there to make it indexed to inflation. Alright, so now once you have hit your top 35 years, the index earnings or face value earnings are determined. That also includes any zeros for years you may not have worked, and then those 35 years are added. And we're looking at the highest of 35 years. If you work longer than 35 years, then it's not going to include every single year of your earnings, but just the top 35. So that's the first step in that includes determining your top 35 years and then adding those up together for a sum. Alright, so you'll notice here, I'll just point this out. This is the total for the 35 years here, and then the lowest amount, the annual amount that was included. So the last step in calculating benefits to determine your PIA or primary insurance amount. So again, remember that's a monthly amount you receive in benefits at full retirement age. Again, once you hit that, that's 100% of your benefit. So, this is important to know what this amount is. So, how do you get to your PIA? So, the first thing you do is look at what's called Ben points. So, each year, Social Security will come out with those Ben points automatically, and that's used to calculate the monthly amount you'll receive. So now the Ben points that we'll use, we look at the year you will turn 62. So let's say you turn 62 in 2020. So you would have different Ben points than someone who turns 62 in 2023. So each year those points are different. So the 2 points that are used as well as your AIM are used to determine that primary insurance amount. So for this example, your AIM is $9,009 and the 2 Ben points are $1,174 and $7,078. So the first Ben point, that 0 to 1,174, so that's right here. You take that portion and multiply it by 90%. So you get your first the 90% Ben point there. So the next Ben point is 1,174 to 7,078. So you subtract the difference between those two, multiply that by 32%, and get this 1,889. And then this one is saying anything over $7,078. So we see that there's an amount over that. So you multiply that $1,931 by 15%, you get to 290. Add those together, and that gives you the monthly amount you will be paid. All right. So now you don't need to think much about this. Again, I don't want you to be confused because, again, I can calculate this for you, and that's actually a part of your analysis. And, all the information will be provided to you in the meeting that we'll have to review your report. So you don't have to figure that out on your own. So after determining those amounts, again, and you've added those up, that tells you what you'll get each month. You don't have to worry about doing this because that's, literally part of my job. So usually what I do is take your top 35 years and then divide it by the number of months in those years to get the amount. So again, nothing you have to worry about. That's information I can provide to you in our meeting. All right, so next we're looking at filing consideration. So as we discussed earlier, you have to have at least 40 credits, also known as quarters of coverage, to qualify for a benefit. So that's around 10 years of work. You can find out if you have enough in your portal on ssa.gov. That'll show you what your number of credits are, what your estimated monthly amount would be depending on when you claim, and disability benefits and things like that. So other requirements, again, you have to be at least 62 to claim. Specifically, you have to be at least 62 for a whole month before you claim. So basically 62 in 1 month is the age you'll have to be to first file if you want to file early. So for the benefit amount, as we previously stated, so your retirement benefit, once you qualify, is calculated using the top 35 years, and then that creates the primary insurance amount or your monthly amount you'll be paid. So typically it's going to show you the 100% at full retirement, but if you claim early, that it will be reduced. So a benefit that's going to be reduced each year if taken early, that's, you're permanently reducing it if you claim it early. But if you wait beyond your full retirement, you're increasing by 8% per year. And so you'll actually be getting more than the amount that was calculated based off of your full retirement if you wait. So now it is important to know that even though you'll usually see an 8% annual increase by waiting, it's actually a monthly increase. So each month you wait, you get an additional 0.67% in your benefit, totaling 8% per year. So you can see in this example, someone has a full retirement age of 67. Their PIA is $2,500. So you can see the difference between the ages 62 and 70. So again, if they claim at 62, their monthly amount will be $1,750, and they get 70% of their total. Here for retirement 67, $2,500, 100% of their PIA. And then waiting, you'll see $2,700, $2,900, and then $3,100. Again, 8% increase, 16%, and 24%. But also remember, you do get a COLA increase each year. And so, again, it's completely up to you when you need to start claiming. But just be aware, just because you turn 62 doesn't mean you automatically need to just go and claim your Social Security, because there can be benefits in waiting to do so. All right, so next we'll look at spousal benefit reduction. So we've looked at the spousal benefits. So again, you can get those if you're married as well as if you're divorced. So to be eligible for a spousal benefit, you are currently married or plan to get married. A spousal benefit will be available if you've been married at least 12 months or 1 year. As a spouse, you may be eligible for the benefit as long as your spouse is collecting off of their record, and also that they have enough credits to qualify. So again, 40 credits will be needed. If your spouse has the 40 credits, then you don't have to have 40 credits on your own record. Again, it's important to know that you can be dually entitled. So that means that you could be eligible based off of your own record and your spouse's record, and the potential of collecting some from each of those is possible for some people, again, as long as you met the quarter requirements. So you should also know that collecting a benefit from another person's record doesn't take from their benefit, and so there's no negative impact on that person. There are 2 other requirements. So you have to be at least 62 to begin collecting a spousal benefit, and your spouse whose benefit you're collecting on, they must also be collecting, as I mentioned before. So you can't collect on the spousal benefit until they're already collecting. And then as for the amount, so the spousal benefit is not based on the spouse or ex-spouse's benefit amount. It's based off of their PIA, or primary insurance amount. So the spousal benefit is 50% of the spouse's PIA, and is reduced if you take it early. So if you take it before your full retirement age, you will get less than 50% of the PIA, or the monthly amount that they would have got, that your spouse is eligible for. So the biggest difference between retirement and spousal benefits is retirement benefits can continue to increase through age 70, whereas your spousal benefit will not. So once you hit full retirement age, that's the max for the spousal benefit. So for divorced benefits, pretty much works the same, but there are some differences. So to be eligible for an ex-spousal benefit, you must have been married to your ex-spouse for at least 10 years, and then you and your ex must be at least 62, and you don't remarry. So if you remarry, then you're not going to be eligible. Also, there's one more rule that applies. So if you have been divorced at least 2 years, your spouse must be if you have been divorced for less than 2 years, your spouse must be collecting. But if you've been divorced for more than 2 years, then your ex doesn't have to be collecting, because you'll have an independent entitlement because you've been divorced for 2 years. So again, it is important to understand that there could be spousal or divorce or / ex-spousal benefits. But no, again, if you start collecting at 62, there's a reduction, just like there would be for your retirement benefits. Once you hit your full retirement age, the max is 50%. So as the lower earning spouse, you could be dually entitled. So this means that you're entitled not only to a portion of your own benefit, but to your spousal benefit as well. So the reason I say portions is because retirement benefit and spousal benefits are 2 separate benefits, and you could very well be entitled to both. It is important to know that if you're entitled to both, you're not going to receive both of those full amounts combined, but rather the higher of the 2. So if your own benefit is higher than you would receive under your spouse's record, then you're only collecting your benefit. If you're eligible for a spousal benefit that's higher than your own, then you'll receive a portion of your retirement benefit and a portion of the spousal benefit. And again, you'll get what's equal to the higher of the 2 benefits. So for example, let's say your spouse has a PIA of $3,000. So that means that at your own full retirement, you could collect $1,500 or 50%. However, your own PIA is $1,000, so you're not going to receive the $1,500 and your own, but you will receive $1,000 from your record and an additional $500 from your spouse's record to equal $1,500. Okay, and so again, you'll see that here, depending on your claim age, that'll affect the amount of the benefit. So if you claim at 62 and your spouse benefits higher, the max you can get for each month would be what's equal to the higher of the two benefits, not the two combined. And you'll see here the max 67 is where you hit for the spousal benefit, and then notice that you do have an increase with your retirement as you delay claiming your own benefit. And so you'll notice at age 70 your benefit will be higher than the spousal benefit. Alright, so the next benefit is survivor benefit. So the survivor benefit is the most undercollected benefit based off of what the Social Security Administration has provided. And that's because of the rules surrounding it. Most people don't realize that they could be eligible for it. So for a spousal benefit, it is based off of the higher earner's record. And so if the higher earning spouse is the survivor, then they'll continue to receive their own benefit. But if the surviving spouse is the lower earning spouse, then they can inherit the higher amount. Again, you're not combining the two together, but just looking at which benefit would be higher. However, just again, like that spousal benefit, you're looking at getting a portion of your own benefit and the survivor benefit to equal up to the higher of the two benefits. So it's important to know that a survivor benefit is generally going to be based off of the amount of the deceased collecting or would have collected at the time that they pass. However, it can be tricky, so that's why we need to consider it on a case-by-case basis. So, for example, let's say one spouse is collecting $2,000, the other spouse is collecting $3,000. So then the spouse would have the $2,000, from their benefit for their record. The remaining $1,000 would then be considered a surviving benefit, and the total benefit received would be $3,000. So if the surviving benefit is collected before your full retirement age, there's also reduction just like the spousal benefit, and it doesn't increase with going beyond full retirement. So two things that are important about the survivor benefits. So first, the survivor full retirement age is 4 months earlier than the regular full retirement age. So the full retirement age, you'll see here, under survivor, it says, 67, you get 100%. But notice if you are claiming under spousal, these percentages are higher than they would be under your benefit. So again, you do get the 4 months earlier than you would under your record for retirement. So the spousal, again, retirement age will be 4 months earlier than your regular one, and then dependents can also collect a survivor benefit of up to 75% off of their deceased parents' primary insurance amount. So even though a surviving spouse has their benefit, so do any other dependents. Again, and the dependents can get up to 75%. Alright, so before we talk about dependents and the eligibility for benefits, we'll look at survivor benefits for younger widows, just giving those strategy options that will be available to them. Again, this will be while delaying other benefits. So in 2015, President Obama signed into law the Bipartisan Budget Act, and that banned restricted application. So restricted application is used to allow a spouse to claim a spousal benefit while delaying their own retirement benefit, so that retirement benefit can grow by 8% each year, which they can then switch to their own record later up to age 70. However, the law no longer allows for that strategy for couples. However, for a survivor benefit, you can still do so. So you can take the survivor benefit and then delay your own retirement benefit, or the other way around, depending on which one is the higher of the two. So, for example, let's say a survivor has a benefit of $2,000 at their full retirement age, but at 70, their own benefit would be $4,000. So you can take the survivor benefit first and then switch to your own benefit at age 70 once it would reach $4,000. So if we look at the chart, we see 62, and then this is survivor benefit. And this will show you at what ages, depending on when you claim, the maximum you can get. So according to this, your max option would be delaying your retirement benefit to age 70 and then claiming the survivor benefit at age 63. So that is a strategy to maximize the benefit amounts you receive. Okay. So the last benefit we'll look at is dependent benefit. So to qualify for dependent benefit, you must be a child under the age of 18 or 19 if you're still in high school, a child disabled up to any age if they first became disabled before age 22, or for a spouse any age of caring for a child under the age of 16, or if the child is disabled. So it's not just, a benefit for dependents of a deceased parent, but it's also a living benefit. So here's the difference. So if you have an eligible dependent, and you are, still alive, then you must be collecting your own benefit. And that dependent can get up to 50% of the collecting parent's record. And then if the parent is deceased, then the child could get up to 75%. However, it is important to know that these benefits are limited by the family max. So the family max is the limit that you could get based off of one earner's record. So the family max will be calculated using the collecting parent's PIA and then the formula that's created to determine the max for the family. So after that's calculated, then the PIA for the collecting parent is subtracted, and what's left over is equally divided between all dependents. So that's where there's 2 dependents or 10, that same amount is going to be distributed among those dependents. So again, we see here parents with a minor child under 18 can collect, as well as a child. A child with disabilities can also collect, again, while the parent's collecting, and then a spouse can collect if a child is under 16 or disabled. And we see here the max can range from 150% to 180% of the PIA. So many of you may have pensions, but what you want to look out for as far as Social Security is what's called a non-covered pension. So a non-covered pension comes from jobs where Social Security taxes were not paid. So generally it could be a federal, state, or local government job, such as teachers in some states. So during those jobs where you were working but you were paying into a pension but not into Social Security, those would be subject to one or both of the rules. So the first is called WEP, or windfall elimination provision, which applies to someone who's collecting both from a non-covered pension and from the Social Security or disability benefit, and this impacts over 2 million people in 2024. There's a GPO, and that so the government pension offset applies to anyone who's collecting a non-covered pension in Social Security, spousal, or survivor benefits. So that impacts over 800,000 people in 2024. So it is important to know that if you have what's called a non-covered pension, you're impacted by WIP and or GPO. So that can result in a reduction of the benefit that you're receiving. So calculations again can be confusing, but if you're in that situation, I can certainly again provide that personalized Social Security analysis for you, and I can show you what the impact would be of those reductions and how to strategize and look at what your claiming option would be. All right. So next, we'll look at the earnings test. So this is also known as the earnings limit, and it does apply to those who are collecting benefits while working before they reach full retirement age. So the first limit in 2024 is $22,320. So at that point, anything above that would be a reduction of one of every $2 earned above the limit. And that would be withheld from your benefit that you're receiving. This limit does take place between ages 62 and the end of the year before you reach your full retirement age. So the second limit for 2024 would be $59,520. At that point, one of every $3 earned above that limit would be withheld. So this limit takes place between January of the year that you reach your full retirement age and the month at which you are at your full retirement age. So once you've reached full retirement, then those earnings are no longer going to be limited. But it is important to know that what income will count towards your earnings limit. So the only income that counts would be from employment, and that would be W-2 wages, and then also net income from your self-employment. So that would include pensions, annuities, IRAs, and other retirement or non-earned income, such as rental income would not count. So again, one of every $2 above that amount before you hit your year that you turn your full retirement age. And then between January and the month at which you reach your full retirement age, the reduction of one of every $3 earned above the $59,520, and then no limits after you've reached your full retirement age again. So pension, annuity, IRA, dividend income, interest income, capital gains, and rental would not count, whereas W-2 wages would, and the net income from self-employment. All right. So at this time, if you have any questions, definitely let us know. You can do so by clicking the next button. It has a space where you can either fill out your information and include your question. You could go to our website and contact us through there. You can call or text 866-648-1578 or email us at info@priceservicesgroup.com with any questions, and we do look forward to speaking with you soon. And again, this is our contact information, the phone number, you can call or text, email, as well as the website. We certainly hope you enjoyed this workshop and learned. Again, if you have any questions, just let us know. Hope you have a good day. Take care.